And now McCollum Wellness Radio.
So bad one time, it was a piece and a permanent vow. Now I'm feeling so much better, I can keep walking time. I woke up this morning feeling so good, you know I laid back down again. Though your day over me, mama, I might not feel as good.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you live from KSCO Radio. I hope you all are having an awesome day. I'm feeling so much better I could cakewalk into town, as the song goes. That's a great song by Taj Mahal. And I think that, you know, at this point, we really need to realize that it is time for us to cakewalk into town. It's time for us to get our lives back. I'm very excited about it. My, let's see, something happened to my Facebook here. I'm sideways. I've been sideways more than once in my life. Let me do this. Anyway, it is a wonderful day here in Santa Cruz. Now it's straight up again. Okay, I'm gonna have to just restart my Facebook feed here because it doesn't seem to want to be going right. I think it's really important for us to take a look at what we can do right now to be happy and healthy. I've been listening to KSCO most of the morning, listening to the Saturday special with Michael Zwirling, listening to Tom Quinn. And, you know, it's just, we're kind of to a point where we just need to just jump in, take our life back, and make a good go of it. So I'm going to try to get my Facebook thing going again here. Bear with me, technical difficulties. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. There we go. Good. Well, it looks like it's not working. Anyway, I think what we'll do right now, if you don't mind, I'm just going to run a real quick commercial. Let's listen to Lauren Spencer on the TRT machine so I can get my equipment going here, and I'll be right back in a sec.
Hey, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum. I have this amazing patient, Lauren, here, and she had a few things to say.
Hi, I'm Lauren Spencer, a local realtor, and I've been seeing Duncan for years now. I had a biking accident, and he's been adjusting me since then, and it's been amazing. But lately, I've had trouble with my feet, and I'm an avid walker, avid biker, avid golfer, and my feet were aching all the time. And I tried Duncan's TRT machine, which is an amazing stem cell machine that rejuvenates the cells. And my feet, I've had like 3 or 4 sessions with the machine, and my feet are like new, no aches, no pains. It's a miracle. So I really highly recommend Duncan and his chiropractic services, but also that TRT machine. You got to try it.
Wow, thanks, Lauren. That was awesome. So we still have the $49 special. Come on in and see if it works for you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm back, and thank you, Lauren, for that great testimonial. We've had so many people come in the last week and try the stem cell machine, the TRT machine, with just some remarkable results. I'm going to go back to what I wanted to talk about on the show today, and it has to do with my 5th book that I published called New Hope for Sciatica. And based on what I was listening to on Radio Free KSCO today, I thought it would be appropriate to bring this up. My book, New Hope for Sciatica, was published the week of when the pandemic started. And it was already with about 30 of my friends who all worked together in a consortium. We all were going to publish our books at the same time. Well, all of theirs went up online at Amazon, and mine got censored. And we couldn't figure out why my book was censored at first. So, you know, after digging into it, we found out that I'd said something in my prologue that caused them to censor my book. So I will read that for you because I think this was when a lot of censorship started, people trying to voice their opinions about whatever was going on in the world at that time and continuing. And we finally were able to get it back on, but I had to take out a lot of what I had said in my prologue. Since then, I found a new publisher. We have published it in its entirety, but I'm going to read my foreword or prologue for you right now. And I think that it's very appropriate based on what we've been listening to all day on KSCO. I'm going to be bleeping a couple words here because I am Facebooking this. Note from the author. As I sit in the progress of writing this book, perhaps the biggest wake-up call in modern history has plagued our planet. Even as I sit and write these words, citizens from our country, and in fact, the world, the whole world, are quarantined or confined to their own homes. Entire cities and even countries have shut down, and all non-essential business have been asked to temporarily close their doors. The deadly beep, beep has arrived, and with it came mass hysteria. The powers that be, governments, nations, our own CDC and FDA, let alone the World Health Organization, has been turned on its ear. This beep, beep, invisible to the naked eye, has proven the biggest terrorist of all. It is almost like our planet has been invaded from outer space, and we are defenseless against the alien attack. People are scrambling for supplies. Things as common as toilet paper and paper towels are nowhere to be found. Shopping carts have been commandeered and slammed together as frantic citizens are vying for position, grabbing boatloads of supplies off the shelves of local grocery stores, often leaving none and showing no regard for their neighbors. Not since the last World War has the world realized such a threat to survival. And yet perhaps out of the rubble and the ruin of an inept and now defensive healthcare system will rise new awareness in the minds of the peoples of Earth. For far too many years, we have depended on Big Pharma to save the day with the next new miracle pill. Yet with the invasion of beep, we are left defenseless, or are we? Did you know that the wisest and most powerful physician who has ever walked this planet lives right inside of you? It reminds me of the 1939 movie called The Wizard of Oz. For the entirety of the movie, Dorothy was searching for a way home. She evaded wicked witches, flying monkeys, fell victim to patches of wild, intoxicating poppies, when the whole time she had the power to find her own way home. As Gilda, the good witch of the north, would finally reveal, all she had to do was click her heels of her ruby slippers together and repeat, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home." Inside every one of us dwells an incredible innate intelligence. It has a purpose, and that purpose is to survive. And for eons, this innate intelligence has ensured that we did survive. It wasn't until the advent of massive pharmaceutical cartel who put profit above people that we started down this path of the magic pill dependency. Don't get me wrong, I realize how much modern medicine has added to our survival and our overcoming of hitherto overwhelming epidemics. But perhaps with this paradigm shift, it is time for the individual to take back control of his or her own health. And through the pages of this book, as we discuss new and innovative ways for us to heal our own bodies, and in this volume specifically addressing the multi-therapeutic approach to sciatica, it is my goal and desire to help you not only address your sciatica, but to rise above the dependency for your amazing health potential, and take the reins and learn to guide your life to where you can flourish and prosper while enjoying excellent health. So that was, because of that few paragraphs, my book had been censored and taken down. And now it's back up and it's selling on Amazon. I've been getting letters from around the country of people that have purchased my book, and they reach out and thank me for it, and they are looking for ways to get help. So if you haven't got your copy of New Hope for Sciatica, I just ask you to go to Amazon and get it. Buy it. You can get it. It's in print. You can get it on Kindle, and there's also a vocal version, whatever those are called, audio. So, and listen, our Western medicine is amazing for emergency and life-saving types of healthcare. And a lot of you know that in November, I developed incredibly terrible sciatica after writing this book 2 years earlier. And I couldn't even go shopping. I was going, well, how the heck can a guy that wrote a book on sciatica not be able to move because of his sciatica? And actually, it was in October. It was October 2nd, going to a Giants game, that I started to develop this sciatica. It got worse and worse. I went to all the different chiropractors I knew. I had an MRI. I talked to orthopedists. I talked to the reading radiologists at one of the best imaging centers that I know of. And they all said, okay, well, your back, since you broke it when you were age 12, the disc has gotten so small and the hole the nerve comes out is so tiny that it is now encroaching that nerve, and there's no hope but to get surgery to bore out that hole. And that would be the thing that they could do, or they could burn it, or they could give me an injection of cortisone. So none of those seemed like something I wanted to do. But after 6 weeks of barely being able to move, I was at my wit's end. Finally, I went to see a good friend of mine, another chiropractor with a different technique, and he did a certain technique on me. And when I got off his table and took one step out of the door of his office, my appendix ruptured. I was in severe pain. I had to go right to the hospital where they did emergency surgery, because when the appendix ruptures, it's a life and death situation. And thank God for modern medicine. It saved my life. Now, the funny thing is, in my book, New Hope for Sciatica, I talked about hidden infections as being one of the three deadly trios. It's heavy metals, molds, and hidden infections. Well, I could be adjusted all I wanted. It did not correct my sciatica. It came down to a hidden infection in my pancreas. My pancreas had been so swollen for so long, apparently, and putting pressure on the whole sciatic area on the right side of my body, causing the pain I was having. So once the appendix ruptured, all that pain went away and never came back. Never have I had 1 ounce of sciatica since that happened. Now, I'm not saying that everybody out there has a hidden infection that's causing their sciatica, but it is part of the story. You want to look for several things when you have any kind of pain. Now, my book's about sciatica, but it's really about health. It's about any pain or any kind of condition that you're having problems with. And you can read it in the book and discover the different ways to get yourself healthy. In chapter 1, I talk about different symptoms or questions that people have. These are the questions that I've heard over the years, 33 years as a chiropractor. And they were things like, where did my symptoms come from? Well, it may not just be a pinched nerve. Why haven't I been able to be helped? Maybe you're not looking at the right place. Will I ever be able to end my pain? Well, it depends on whether you're willing to do what it takes and you keep your mind open to different alternatives and not do the same thing and expect a different result, as Einstein says. How long will my doctor keep me on pain management? Again, if you're doing the same thing and expect a different result, you're probably going to be on those meds for a while. Am I becoming addicted to pain meds and other drugs? Great question. The United States takes over 50% of all the drugs made in the world, and we're rated 47th in the world for health, and we're only 4% of the population. We take a lot of medications in this country, and our symptoms are still there. And 60% of us are diabetic or pre-diabetic. 30 million people are diagnosed with thyroid conditions. 80 million Americans have multiple chronic diseases, according to Michigan State University study. Here's another question. Am I damaging my organs by taking these drugs? Well, I was doing my continuing education a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about, Advil and Tylenol destroying the liver and kidney. Talking about even antacids beta blockers. These things actually destroy the digestive system, and they're now linked to things like cancer and heart disease by taking those. No medicine should be taken chronically. In fact, if you look on the side of the bottle, it usually says, take for 15 days. If your symptoms don't subside, consult your physician. And oftentimes you're told, well, just take the medication. Will I ever get well? That's a question that this book can help you answer, because it goes into the 3 major types of stress: physical, chemical, and mental. We've been under intense mental stress for the last 2 years plus, and that increases the cortisol levels in our body, and that cortisol decreases our body's immune system, our digestive function, and our cognitive function. So, we need to learn how to rise above that. And the chemical, right now, we are conducting a 3-month true cellular detox program in our office, and anybody can jump on anytime they want. Basically, there's 3 phases of it. It's written in this book. You can find out about it in the book, New Hope for Sciatica. So get online and do me a favor, buy the book. If you enjoy any of the programming I do, a lot of it is in this book, and that would be awesome. Will I ever get well? Okay, the next one, do I need surgery? Well, I was being told I needed surgery for my sciatica. I've, as a chiropractor, that would be the last thing in the world I want. Thank God I looked into all possibilities and actually missed my own chapter in the book on the deadly trio on hidden infections. My appendix had to blow up to remind me of that. What about my future? I remember driving home from my office where 2 other chiropractors were adjusting for me because I couldn't, and driving along Park Avenue and looking out at the cement ship and Seacliff Beach that's been my home since 1968, and thinking, will I ever be able to walk on the beach again? And what a sad thought that I would not be able to. Will I ever enjoy my life again? When you're in pain, whether it's mental, physical, or chemically induced, it's very hard to enjoy yourself. You're grumpy. What about the people that you love, the people you're around, people you work with, your children, your parents, your family? It's very difficult to be around somebody who's in pain all the time. What, if anything, can be done about it? So again, the book will help you quite a bit to discover things that you may not have been told about, and open your eyes a little bit to other things that you can do. I did one of my commercials early on with Lauren Spencer, but I want to tell a couple stories this week of the stem cell machine, the TRT, tissue regenerative technology machine. I had a woman come in who had foot pain and leg pain and sciatica for years, and very skeptical, but just tired. She couldn't live with the pain anymore. So we did some TRT on her foot, and she got up and was ecstatic at the fact that she could walk without pain. Now I'll see her again this week, and hopefully we're going to be able to improve other issues with her. But almost daily we get these kind of results. Now again, it's not everybody. It's not going to help everybody, because there are different causes of the problem. If it's chemical, if it's a toxicity induced condition from heavy metals, molds, hidden infections, the stem cell machine and chiropractic may not be as effective as you would like it to be. So it's so important that you have a well-rounded understanding, or who's ever helping you, have them be willing to look outside the box. We really try to do that at my office. And I know there's some great chiropractors in town, some naturopaths, and even medical doctors are starting to look outside of their billowhack now to see if there's other things that they can do. So I just encourage you to be willing to do something different if you're living in pain. So I guess one of the reasons I decided to read the intro to my book that caused it to be censored on Amazon was because we need to be able to have freedom of thought. We should not be censored from our freedom of discussion or freedom of thought. You know, there's a time and a place, and time, one of the guys that I think was on Michael's Whirling show was saying we're almost at war. We want to be careful who we're broadcasting and what thoughts we're broadcasting. And perhaps that's true. However, we do have freedom in this country. Well, we should have freedom in this country to be able to express ourselves the way we want. So I just hope that everybody here is willing to take a look at their life right now and do something different to get a different result. If you're happy, 100% happy with your life, you don't need to change anything. If you would like to be healthier, if you would like to get out of pain, if you'd like to have a better quality of life, then look at something that you can change. Write a list down, put a line down the center of the page, and write down on the left-hand side what's existing, and the right-hand side what you would like it to look like. So my existing situation or my existing scene may be, I don't have enough energy to get through the day. On the right-hand side, you go, I want to have an abundance of energy. Then you might write, I have pain that limits my ability to garden. On the right-hand side, write, I want to be able to garden all day and pull weeds if I wish to. And you can go down this list, and then it will start to become clear what your priorities are. Once you know what your priorities are, you can see the existing scene and what you might quote as more of an ideal scene, and start to take steps to get you from point A to point B. So many times we get distracted, or we placate our bodies with medications, and or even our mind with alcohol, other types of drugs and medications, TV, social media, all these things that stop us from being creative. This morning, I've got book number 7 and book number 8, both halfway done. Book number 7 is called Bruxa de Mar, which means sea witch in Portuguese. And that's book 3 in the Little Big Jim series. And I was looking at book 2 called Journey's End that goes to China in 1863 with a boatload of jade that was harvested out of Big Sur's jade mines. And, you know, there's so much interesting history in China in the dynasty ages. And this is a Qing dynasty, Quin, the last one, following the Ming dynasty, and ended in the 1900s with eventually the fall of the artistic China into what we have today. And it's was such a beautiful past. But regardless, I've been distracted. I've had a lot of things going on in my life, as we all have, and I haven't been writing my books for almost 2 years. The last book I wrote was called Turn Back Your Biological Clock, came out in 2000, and that's also available on Amazon, by the way. But today I would like you to pick up New Hope for Sciatica and read it for yourselves. Find out what you can do. Come into the office at the end of the book. You're offered a complimentary consultation. I'm getting people from around the country writing me with questions and asking for help with their health. And I want to be that for you guys. I want to see what I can do to help you be healthier. I think we're going to go ahead and listen to Pastor Mark for a minute. This is another gentleman that came into my office with incredible knee pain. He was very athletic. He was unable to really enjoy any type of activity. And after one treatment, he had some major success. So let's listen to Pastor Mark, and I'll be back in a couple minutes.
This is Dr. Duncan McCollum here, and I have Pastor Mark with me. He came in and experienced the stem cell machine, the CRT machine, and he wanted to just go ahead and tell you a little bit of his experience.
Yeah, I injured my knee years ago from sports and being dumb. And after the first stem cell treatment, after the very first one, I could go full knee squat. And doctors told me that we want to replace your knee. And my knee was just ache just from sitting. And you probably experienced that if you have knee problems. But now, no ache. I can walk without pain. And when I sit, I had no pain. And I just love it. I'd recommend it to anybody. It's terrific.
When we looked at your x-rays, your disc in your knee feels pretty good, too.
Yeah, they're improving so much. I just love it. I can't wait for my treatment every week. Highly recommend it to anyone.
So you'd recommend they do the $49 special to see if it will work for them?
Oh, absolutely. That's what drew me in was the $49 special. I thought I got $50 to spend to just see, and it certainly has paid off.
Call 831-459-9990. Thanks.
Now back to McCollum Wellness Radio.
God damn, baby, now you know it works. It sure got hard. I spent my whole day stealing chicken, baby, from the rich folks' yard.
Okay, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum. I'm back. We're listening to Taj Mahal in his song Cakewalk into Town. He said I had the blues so bad. One day it put my face in a permanent frown, but I'm feeling so much better I can cakewalk into town. And I think it's time for our country to feel so much better it can cakewalk into town. And you know what? It's just an attitude shift. You might have a million things that are great reasons why you're in the condition you're in. And as long as you go into agreement with them, you're right. Those are reasons why you are stuck where you're stuck. But the minute that you decide something can be done about it, your life will change. So write down on the left side of a page, all those things that are holding you back, put a line down, and on the right side, start to write down what would be ideal for you, what you'd like to see happen. What if one thing changed and your life became that much happier? If you're already doing great, do it anyway. You could be doing greater. I had a friend, I haven't seen him in a long time, named Mark. And whenever you ask Mark how he's doing, you go, hey, Mark, how you doing? He's going, great, but getting better. Every time you asked him what was happening, doing great, but getting better. And so I have changed it a little bit to, I'm doing awesome, but getting awesomer. And I'm sure every day Mark's life wasn't great and getting better, but you know what? He kept saying it. He kept saying it. And you are what you think. What you think about, you talk about. What you talk about, you bring about. So I just want to encourage everybody, including myself, by the way, to really try to just be better at things you're doing. And by that, I mean, have more fun. You know, when you're, one of the greatest things that you can do in life is create. You can go create a garden. You can create, you know, a planter box. You can make a drawing. You can create happiness in somebody else's life. You know, to serving others is amazing. So if you feel that your life isn't going as well as you'd like it to do, go out and help somebody. Nothing makes you feel better than helping somebody else, at least for me. You know, I mean, I can sit around and mope in my house and wish that this or that would happen. But when I go out and help somebody else, it's a great feeling. So if you want to feel better, go help somebody else and you will feel better. That's my own experience. So I started off today talking about, you know, some of the stuff that these other people on the show have been talking about. Mike Zwirling had a great show today. And, you know, I just want to put a plug for KSCO. He was saying how lucky we are to have KSCO. And it's, you know, it's not like a station that's just rolling in dough. And I'm very happy to be a part of it. You know, we have my office supports it. And you know, if you have a chance, just flow it a little bit of money, you know, flow some money to KSCO, do it on, you know, a constant basis. If every listener put $5 a month into KSCO, it would make sure that we have this amazing radio station. He was talking today about some of the other radio free, I forget what he called it, stations in the United States, but some of them censor all different types of opinions. You know, they will only let the right on or only let the left on. And, you know, Michael Zwirling is make sure that all sides are spoken about on the station. And I don't want to lose that. I hope you don't want to lose it either. So I'm putting a little commercial out for KSCO. I know a lot of people do support it, and you are very well thanked, not by me, but the Zwirling group and the people that work here. But I just wanted to make a plug that you know, send a little money into KSCO. I'm sure that they would appreciate it. If you go to KSCO.com, you can find out the address on Portola. I think it's 2300, but you should check into that. So last week, I talked with the other doctor in my office, the notorious Dr. Troy from New York, and we had a lot of fun. We yucked it up, and it was really a fun show. But one thing that we talked about is the fact that only 10% of the people in the United States go to chiropractors. Only 10%. You know, you've probably heard of chiropractic and you've listened to KSCO, you've heard me talk for years, but a lot of people aren't sure about chiropractic and the education. Does it hurt? What does it cost? You know, do you have to go forever? All these different questions. And you know, more people do meditation and or yoga than they do go to a chiropractor. Yet the nervous system, which is comes out of your spine, which is what the doctors of chiropractic work with, is the most important system in your body. In fact, when you are conceived, day one, you become one cell. An egg and sperm come together, you become one cell. Within 8 days, that cell is divided into 8 cells that look identical, like frog eggs in a pond. Then on day 16, all of a sudden, it differentiates, meaning you can see different things in the growing embryo. You see a bulb with a stem coming off of it. That stem, the first thing discernible on a microscope is the nervous system. It's a spinal cord. The first thing that you can see developing in the growing embryo is the communication system for the spinal cord. That develops and develops, and then all of a sudden branches come off of it like a tree. At the end of those branches, organs grow and develop. Livers, kidneys, gizzards, if you're a chicken, you know, spleens, hearts, reproductive organs, feet, toes, tongues, ears, all of that is developed because of the brain communicating down through the central nervous system and developing the DNA blueprint that is you, what is your body. And it's so important to understand that the 3 stressors in life are physical, chemical, and mental, emotional, or spiritual, those 3 things. And if you have damage to your nervous system, you're not going to be able to get well till you fix that damaged nervous system. I don't care how many drugs you take, how many counseling sessions you have, how many supplements you take. If the nervous system is interrupted or damaged, you're not going to get well. It's just common sense. If your nervous system is working well, but you have an insufficiency of minerals, vitamins and minerals that Dr. Wallach talks about, you have an insufficiency of amino acids, fatty acids, all these different nutrients, no matter how many times you get adjusted, your body can't get well if it doesn't have the need, if it doesn't have the elements necessary to sustain life. If your nervous system and your chemical system are working well, the chemistry, the hormones in your body, but you are living in the gutter in your mind, if you are under suppression by family members, work, a nation, the news, no matter what you do chemically or physically with chiropractic, you will not get well because your mind is holding you back. You're being suppressed. So you've got to figure out which of these 3 are the biggest issue and work with it first, then start to work with the other 2. I had a gentleman come into the office last week, and he had just come out of the hospital. He was having some issues with one of the organs in his body that ticks a lot, and he'd had a lot of different things happen to that in the hospital. And he said, they told me there's nothing wrong. What do I do? Well, they looked at the physical organ, and the physical organ was okay. And he was wondering if I would adjust him. And I took a look at his history. I had him fill out a neurotoxic questionnaire, which you can get at McCollumwellness.com. Fill it out, send it in, and I will give you a complimentary phone consultation on that. I looked at him and I said, we took some x-rays of him, and he came back a day later, and I talked to him. I go, your issue isn't chiropractic. Chiropractic would help you, but quite honestly, you're so toxic that if you don't fix this toxicity in your body, chiropractic's not going to do a thing for you. So he jumped on the True Cellular Detox program that we're doing right now, the 3-month program. Anybody can start anytime. It's normally $29.99, but we have it going for $17.99 right now. And we're helping a lot of people through this. So feel free, do the neurotoxic questionnaire, call the office, McCollum Family Chiropractic, 831-459-9990. And, you know, just say, hey, I'm interested. Or you can email info at McCollumFamilyChiropractic.com. I hope that's it. It might be McCollumWellness.com, info at McCollumWellness.com. Either one would work, and say, I want to do this True Cellular Detox. I want to find out about it. I want to do the neurotoxic questionnaire and find out what I can do to improve my health. So just to kind of recap, if your physical body isn't working good, vitamins and therapy isn't going to help you. If your physical body's doing good with your nervous system, but the chemicals are out, you know, adjusting is going to only help you to a certain degree, and therapy is only going to help you to a certain degree. So let's sort it out, and I can maybe help you sort those things out. But getting back to the fact that only 10% of the population have ever gone to a chiropractor or goes to a chiropractor, I wanted to clear a couple things up. Chiropractic was discovered in 1895 when D.D. Palmer adjusted a deaf janitor. The janitor was cleaning up around D.D.'s shop. He was studying magnetism at the time, magnet therapy, which is even in vogue today in some practices. And the janitor was, you know, doing whatever he did, named Harvey Lillard, and BJ or DD asked him, you know, in so many words or sign languages, if he could take a look at his body, because he had skeletons. He'd been studying the spine and all these things all around the world. And another interesting thing is in 1895, it's the same year that X-rays were discovered. X-rays and chiropractic came about the same year, and D.D. Palmer X-rayed spines probably more than anybody at that time. And he would look at the alignment of the spine, and he found out that this gentleman, Harvey Lillard, had his very top vertebra in his neck, called the atlas, was shifted sharply over to, I believe it was the right side. So he felt it. It was painful. It was to Mr. Lillard. And when he pushed on it, he found that it was not moving like the rest of the spine would and the other people that he had been evaluating. So he asked Harvey if he could adjust them. He put him on his side, did what we know as a toggle adjustment, we believe, according to his son, BJ Palmer, who was there at the time. And Lillard's hearing improved markedly. They say it came back. So that was the beginning of chiropractic in 1895. Now, in the early 1900s, oil became a big issue. In fact, if you read my book, Coaling Station A, it talks about the biggest oil boom in history of the world, which was Coalinga, where my grandpa, born in 1883, was the editor of the paper. And he used to tell me all kinds of stories about the Roughnecks and the bar brawls and where Whiskey Row was laid low, Fifth Avenue, and all these amazing stories of the Old West. But at any rate, so you can always buy Coaling Station A. You can find that at the same time you're getting New Hope for Sciatica off of Amazon. You could order Coaling Station A. I would love it if you would. It would be very helpful for me. But I think you'd enjoy the book too. It's a murder mystery, and it has a lot of my grandpa's stories firsthand told to me about the Roughnecks and the wild days of the Roughnecks. And so at any rate, along with oil came sulfa drugs and medications. And so a gentleman named Rockefeller found out that you could make drugs out of this oil, and pretty much eliminated at that point not only all of the small oil people in the world, he, you know, in the United States, he wiped them out, he pushed them out. He actually basically closed down 180 homeopathic colleges in the United States back then. He suppressed natural healing. his family, they started the Committee on Quackery to first contain and eliminate chiropractic from the United States. Chiropractors were thrown in jail throughout the 20s, all the way up until there was an act that protected chiropractors. But they would be thrown in jail, and then as soon as they got out, they would put their shingle out somewhere else because they knew that they could help people by freeing up the nervous system, the physical part of health. Rockefeller and the drug industry is the chemical part of health. Of course, we take over 50% of all the drugs made in the world now. We're only 4% of the population. We're still rated 47th in the world for health. So I think that Rockefeller found there was a huge market and a huge business there. In fact, he was responsible for the development of the American Cancer Society, which at the beginning was not called that. It was, I can't remember what it was, but it was a society to watch cancer. They were never trying to cure cancer, but it became a legacy of, a huge business. Even today, it's a huge business. And when you're put into that machine, you're kind of chewed up and spit out. They're always saying, let's find a cure for cancer. They never will find a cure for cancer. You can find a prevention for cancer. And if you read my book, New Hope for Sciatica, you'll understand that cancer starts within the mitochondria, which is the power plant of the gene. And it's a metabolic condition, the way the body metabolizes stuff. When you metabolize or break or turn sugar or fat, glucose or ketones into energy inside the mitochondria of the 75 trillion cells you have in your body, they produce a toxic waste like your car would exhaust. And that toxic waste has to get out of the cell, it has to get into the bloodstream, it has to get into the liver and kidney, lungs, and skin to get out of the body. And as this is all plugged up, those toxins stay in the body, just like if you took a garden hose and stuck it in the exhaust pipe of your car and stuck it in the window and rolled it up and drove around with that exhaust pipe, the hose going into your cab, you're going to get sick. And that's what's happening to the health of the people in this country. They're sick because their body can't eliminate toxins. So I know I'm rambling on. Most of you know when I come into the show, I just go from whatever's on my mind at that point. I find if I plan too much, I get tongue-tied. So if I just roll, I roll. So roll with me. And so if you want to try to handle the chemical issues in your body, the True Cellular Detox Program, info@McCollumWellness.com or 831-459-9990. One of the reasons we are so sick is our livers and our colon is so plugged. And it's also leaking, like if you ever drove a car where exhaust was leaking out of the exhaust pipe into the cab of the car. That's what's happening to our bodies. That's why we have no energy. That's why we're developing all these autoimmune diseases where your body's fighting itself because it doesn't know who the enemy is. So it's eating itself. And those things can be turned around if you catch it in time. Again, you want to know, is it a physical condition that I need to handle, a chemical condition? And then always remember that what you think about, you talk about, what you talk about, you bring about. Write down where your life is today and all the different areas of it. Draw a line on the right side, right where you want it to be. And now you have a program. Now you have a plan. Now you have a goal. Don't worry about yesterday. Live for today and create your tomorrows. And it's up to you to do that. So I was talking about chiropractic. Now, in the early 60s, about a foot tall pack of AMA documents were put on the doorstep of a chiropractor named Chester Wilkes. And in those AMA documents, it was clearly printed that the AMA, in their internal dossiers, were talking about chiropractic, and their goal was first to contain and then eliminate chiropractic from the United States. And this is when, in the 60s and 70s, when I was first carried into a chiropractor, everybody, my parents who grew up with medical doctors, it was unethical to refer to a chiropractor. A medical doctor could basically be shunned and kicked out of the AMA if they referred to a chiropractor. And it was because of all of this history that I'm going through. They didn't want anybody providing any kind of health care that could potentially help somebody's body heal itself. There had to be an intervention with a medication. And if you have any questions about this, look up the Sherman Antitrust Act, the AMA versus Chester Wilkes chiropractor. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court found the American Medical Association first guilty of first trying to contain and eliminate chiropractic from the United States. Now you had 4 chiropractors who have no funding and fighting the AMA for 20 years. This went on, and these guys, you know, donations from different chiropractors around the country and other groups that wanted to see freedom of healthcare tried to support these guys. It's amazing that they survived. It's amazing that they didn't get eliminated. And, you know, it's David and Goliath story. So Chester Wilkes, I never met him, but the year I graduated from chiropractic school, or right around there, 1989, it was right in that range where the US Supreme Court finally found that the American Medical Association was trying to eliminate chiropractic. Some chiropractors, I mean, some medical doctors today still don't refer. Many do, and my hat's off to them. But every once in a while, I have a patient come in and go, "Oh, my medical doctor said I shouldn't go to the chiropractors," and it's unfortunate because they could be really affecting the person's longevity. We know that medications on a chronic basis cause so many problems. A lot of them are being related to Alzheimer's disease now, and cancers. Even the beta blockers, Tums and stuff, are being related to all these deadly issues. So I have a couple minutes left, and what I'm going to do is, and this is also in my book, New Hope for Sciatica, I'm going to give in here is a comparison of overall curriculum structure, chiropractic schools versus medical schools. So, and this is like, you can look this up online if you care to, total contract hours. The average for chiropractors is 8,826 hours of training. Medical doctors is 4,667 hours of training. So chiropractor college is actually almost 150 hours more than the medical doctor. Basic sciences, 1,420 for chiropractors, 1,200 for the medical doctors. Clinical science, 3,400 for chiropractors, 3,400 for medical doctors. Chiropractic science hours, of course, 2,000 for chiropractors, 0 for medical doctors. Clerkship, whatever that is, 1,400 hours for chiropractors, 3,400 for medical doctors. Chiropractic versus medical. Anatomy and physiology. Chiropractors, 450 hours. Medical doctors, 408. Physiology, 240 for chiropractors, 326 for medical doctors. Pathology, geriatrics and pediatrics, 360 chiropractors, 400 for medical, pretty close. Chemistry, 160 chiropractors, 325 for medical doctors because they study medicine more than us. Microbiology, 120 for chiropractors, 114 for medical doctors. Check this one out. Diagnosis, dermatology, ears, nose, throat. 630 for chiropractors, 324 for medical doctors. Neurology, 320 for chiropractors, 112 for medical doctors in neurology. Radiology, 360 hours versus 150 for medical doctors. Chiropractic do so much more radiology studies. Psychology and psychiatry, 60 for chiropractic, 144 for medical doctors. They can have psychiatry. Obstetrics, gynecology, 60 for chiropractors, 148 for medical doctors. Now we do study that stuff. And check this out. Orthopedics, 310 for chiropractors, 156 for medical doctors. So chiropractors have almost twice as much orthopedic training as medical doctors. So we have 3,065 hours in all those subjects. Chiropractic or medical doctors 27. Now, you know, our training is obviously focused on natural healing and how the body, we need to know how the organs work. We need to know structure. We need to understand the neurology and all these things so we can help find out whether there's something that we can do naturally to help people. So next time you see your chiropractor, realize that they're very well trained, and not all of them have a wide scope of practice. Some of them specialize in various things, and there's going to be somebody out there that's right for you. One of the things I try to do is make sure that I look at the physical, chemical, and emotional part and decide if there's something that I can do. If you come into my office, I promise you this, if I don't think I can help you, I'll let you know right off the bat, try to find somebody that I think can. We do have the stem cell machine, amazing results. If you haven't done the $49 special, call the office, 831-459-9990, 831-459-9990. You can do the $49 stem cell special. You can find out about the True Cellular Detox program. I mean, let's go out in just a minute. I'll wait for a second, but we're going to go out with Taj Mahal again, talking about, I had the blues so bad one time, it put my face in a permanent frown, but I'm feeling so much better, I can cakewalk into town. And it's time for us to cakewalk into town. The next thing that's going to happen in this world, who knows? You know, we just got over one terrible thing. Now there's another terrible thing going on. There will always be something, but those of us that rise above are going to be, you know, the successors, the happiest of everybody. And I should have played Steve Funderburg's song, We Can Rise Above. I'll play that next week. Amazing composer and songwriter. So we've got about a minute left, and let's go ahead and go out with Taj Mahal.
A reason now, you know, sometimes it's Arkansas. Now the way I look, the cocaine made no law. I might just spend picnic in the country, mama, you know, and kick all day. I would do but nothing, but mama's time away. Cause I had the blues so bad one time, it put my face in a permanent frown. Now I'm feeling so much better, I can cakewalk into town.
Go cakewalk into town, folks. See you next week.
KSCO AM 10.